all of a sudden there's this road sign like, Baghdad, this direction. I did think it was going to be more part of the danger zone because of the media and everything. It's nothing like that. That evening we met our tour guide.
That was quite fun as well. I don't know if you remember that we went for dinner at his house.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
his wife didn't know we were coming.
Literally. We sort of turned up, or he turned up with like 15 of us and said, can we have dinner? Yeah.
That was excellent. Oh, God.
And she did, right?
I mean, she did.
She literally
She did. We all sat on the floor.
She cooked up a banquet like in a matter of seconds.
People need to go and see this for themselves because that's the most rubbish description that we...
Yeah, like there was a park. It was green. There were some statues.
We went to a place and we saw some stuff. I highly recommend you do the same. D-U-H. Okay. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
Okay. We kind of all got to the viewing point, but there was a moment I remember when I was actually standing there and you could see the mist over the valley and everything like that. And for me, it was almost spiritual because, again, you're in Iraq. There's no missiles flying overhead. There's no armed forces.
I have a different memory of the viewpoint, but a different experience reaction to it because I got to the viewpoint with the mist and the rain, like, why are we here?
That is so you.
Welcome.
Hi, welcome to another edition of, what are we doing here? Bantering Across Borders.
Bantering Across Borders.
That's what we're doing, Bantering Across Borders.
Yeah, so welcome. So I'm Sarah.
And I'm Tony.
And we do a podcast where we share travel stories and reminisce about random trips that we've done together. Between us, we've been to over 100 countries, and essentially we share our misadventures and unpack what it means for us to be friends along the way.
Okay. Yes, that's what we do.
Supposedly.
You sound completely drunk this morning, do you know?
Yeah, it's like 11 o'clock or something. Yeah. Yes, so in today's episode, we are going to be focusing on a trip that we did in April 2019. We'll get there in a second.
Go for it, Sarah.
So in April 2019, we went on a trip to Kurdistan, so Iraqi Kurdistan, or southern Kurdistan, as I think it's also sometimes known. So we did a road trip from Erbil to Duhok and essentially then back to Erbil. Yeah. And we did that it was a 3-day trip, if I remember. 3 and a bit, yeah. Rightly.
Yeah.
And it was a group trip, right? So we didn't do this independently. We did our trip with Escape Travels. So there was about 15 of us, I think, on the group.
That's right.
But before we go into really talking about the trip and our insights, what were your first thoughts when you heard that we were going to Iraq, basically?
We decided we were going to Iraq. I didn't hear we were going. I made a conscious decision to go. But actually, to be honest, I had no idea about what Iraq would be like that because obviously we're media influenced and subsequently for me, Iraq was Saddam
Hussein.
Saddam Hussein, yeah. And they always get mixed up between him and Gaddafi. But anyway, which demonstrates, again, the media influence because it's all one place.
Right, exactly.
Intellectually.
Yeah.
So I was always confused about that. And I just wanted to go and see because part of the thing for me is having been in this region is you suddenly realise that the media description of the area bears very little relevance and link to what's the reality of the place. So I wanted to go and see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also for me, again, being in the region, it was important for me to go and see as many of the countries as I could, not just be sort of UAE focused. But how
many in the immediate area do you still have to go?
So I've not been to Yemen and Syria.
Just Yemen and Syria?
Yeah, I've done everything else, I think.
I hate you.
I haven't done Afghanistan. So 3. But I've done Iran and Iraq and Saudi and Kuwait and Qatar and Bahrain and Jordan, Lebanon.
Look out for that on our future Bantering Across Borders.
Yes.
Yeah. We have to go back to Iran because I haven't been to Iran.
No, Iran was fun, but a lot of those I did for business, though, right? Because I traveled a lot for business in the region, and actually, that's also what gave me my sort of first initial thoughts about going to Iraqi Kurdistan, because even as a company where, you know, we were responsible for the Middle East, they still had some restrictions on us going to Iraq. So in my mind, I was thinking it was going to be a little bit like, you remember when we traveled to Somalia, Somaliland, and we had this massive convoy of trucks basically and security and everything. So I thought it was going to be a bit more like that. I was very eager to go. You know, I knew a lot of people because of work from the Kurdistan area, and they were all very nice. But I did think it was going to be a little bit more, let's say, part of the danger zone because of the media and everything as well. But actually, when we went there, it's nothing like that, right? It's
nothing
easy,
at all. It was
easy to travel around.
Absolutely safe, absolutely enjoyable. Yeah. People were very welcoming.
People very welcoming as well. What would you say was your lasting memory or your lasting image?
Two things. One is was it Hussein or Gaddafi?
Hussein, Saddam.
Saddam, yeah. So Saddam's palace is, because there was the one we went to, which had been bombed to buggery.
Yeah.
And so there was that one, and the view up to his winter palace that they called, the one that he'd built, but I think he never actually got to go to.
Yeah.
So I thought that's my lasting memory, was standing on the mountain next to this destroyed palace, which they were searching for hidden treasures and WMDs, like you keep those at home.
And you're safe, yeah.
Just in case anybody turns up, I got a nuclear bomb in my back garden. Yeah. But anyway, so I thought, I always find the devastation that is inflicted on a country in war, I find that quite harrowing. I think it's totally unnecessary. So that's one of the main things.
I remember I have the same image, first of all, because we've got an excellent photo. It looks a bit like a sort of a photo album, right? There's, as you said, there's the sort of the remains of Saddam's palace in the background. And it is rubble, right? I mean, it's all of Saddam's palaces after Saddam lost power. All of the, I think the Peshmerga, I think they're called, came in and like destroyed, and actually all of the locals as well, basically sort of destroyed his.
They pillaged the place.
Pillaged because he pillaged from them, right? I mean, fair's fair. But yeah, you're right. And then you're looking around the hills of that area, and you just saw his massive palaces dotted all over the place that he had. So I had the same lasting image. The other lasting image I had was seeing a road sign for Baghdad. I remember when we were sort of on the road, and then all of a sudden there's this road sign Baghdad this direction. And again, because of the Gulf War and, when we grew up, it was, that was such a big thing. It just seemed so unreal that, here I was,
I still want to go to Baghdad. I mean, I definitely want to go back.
Yeah.
I mean. And
actually our guide, if you remember our guide, this guy called Harville, who was amazing. He's now doing tours of Baghdad cool. as well. Yeah, I follow him on Facebook, and he just took a whole group of ladies around the whole country, actually. So,
we should get in touch and we should arrange that.
And I'll leave his link as well, because he's a very good guide.
Yeah.
But let's talk about our trip. So I guess, first of all, let's talk about a little bit about Kurdistan. I don't have too many facts and figures about Kurdistan, but just to be clear, it's an autonomous region of Iraq, recognized as an autonomous region.
Correct.
And it's sort of in the north of Iraq. Yes. So sort of more up towards Turkey, I guess. And that's it for my, my knowledge about Kurdistan.
Kurdistan, and I think the population is about, I can't remember if it's 3.5 million or, it must be 3.5 million or 350,000. Must be 3.5 million. So
I don't know. And it's got a long and complicated history, right? I mean,
it goes back to the 13th, 14th century or something like that. And, it's got lots of different, it's very, very diverse from a religious perspective. Yes. They've got something which I only recently heard about, was called Chaldean Catholics. But it's also got Assyrians in there. They've got the Jewish population is in there as well.
They've got lots of Muslims. Christians, Yazidis, Muslims.
Yeah. So it's very, very diverse from that perspective, which again is one of those things, they've got a diverse home population, yet they've been ravaged by war.
Right. And there's also been a lot of persecution of those individual religious people along the way, like through ways of it. But anyway, so we did our trip April 2019, and we started we flew into Erbil, which is the capital of Kurdistan.
Yep.
And I think we must have flown in the afternoon because we didn't.
Well, I got there the day before.
Oh, did you? You always do.
Well, you're the one that normally gets there early, but on that particular trip, I remember getting there the day before because I think it was myself and Fajr, Amanda. We all arrived the day before.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, we arrived the day before and went out. Just wandered around the place, went up to the Citadel, which is in the town centre as well. So that was quite good fun. And then you lot turned up and destroyed it. Joking.
Enhanced your trip.
That's the great word. Enhanced it,
But that evening we met our tour guide.
That was quite fun as well. I don't know if you remember that we went for dinner at his house.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean...
His wife didn't know we were coming.
Yeah, literally. We sort of turned up, or he turned up with like 15 of us and said, can we have dinner? Yeah.
That was excellent. Oh, God.
And she did, right?
She did.
She literally
she did. We all sat on the floor and,
and
they
scurried around and she cooked up a banquet like in a matter of seconds, basically.
That was amazing. That was absolutely.
And she was very welcoming as well. And there was with his children and everything. So that was a great start to the trip. And then the next day... Which,
again, is one of those things that you would not expect given the media.
Yes,
and I think we say it before, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is one of the reasons you have to go out and see these places, because what you see on TV, even with David Attenborough, what you see on TV is completely different to the reality of the experience.
No, it's completely filtered. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
With an agenda behind it.
As this will be as well, because we'll edit clip bits out. Leave that bit in.
So the next day, then we basically did a road trip, right?
We went,
and we were making our way to the Duhok. So I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's Duhok. That's how I'm saying it for now.
Duhok. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Anyway.
And then
I keep distracting you.
The first stop was at this big sort of monastery on the hill. It's called the Marmatai Monastery. Marmatai, which means Saint Matthew, actually, which I didn't realise. I'm not quite sure in which language. Mm-hmm. And it's on Mount Al-Faf, which is funny for British people.
Yeah. Yeah, so they did faff about. But anyway, I remember that because it was quite a sheer...
It was a sheer drop, right?
It was a sheer drop. And there was, if you remember out over to the left-hand side, there was kind of like the village built into the side of the mountain.
Yeah, it acted like a sort of place of sanctuary, I think, in all the years of war, etc.
Yeah.
But also, talking about it being a sheer drop, there was these... You sort of saw this crooked path, right, that came right from the bottom, which is what the pilgrims took.
Yeah.
We went there by bus, but it was a sharp walk. Yeah, it was a sharp, bendy walk.
Yeah.
And it's a Christian monastery.
Yeah.
The one thing I remember is that they made
honey.
Well, I remember the wine.
Oh, that was right.
Or it was wine or whiskey or something. I've got this cute little bottle with a monk on it.
Yes.
And I've never opened it because it...
No, it should be okay. It will have fermented a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was already fermented at the time. That was kind of the style of them doing it.
So we went to the monastery and then we travelled again. And didn't we go to another monastery on the way back?
But I think the next stop was the Lalish, which was the Yazidi village.
Oh, right, yeah.
So Yazidi is a religion. They consider themselves to be the first religion. They follow...
Don't they all?
They follow Adam, apparently. But what's interesting about Yazidi is that they consider the whole village to be holy, right?
Which is where we had to take our shoes off.
Exactly, right?
That was not part of the plan, to walk around an Iraqi village in the middle of, whenever it was April, late spring, and with no shoes on.
Yes, because so you would take your shoes off going into a mosque, right?
Yeah.
So they ask you to take your shoes off as you enter the village.
The village.
So you walk down like from the car park,
Yeah.
and it was wet, right? It was raining.
It was damp. It was damp. It was rainy. It was rocks. They haven't even bothered to put pavements down for their tourists yet. Well, they'll get to that. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, there's no carpets or anything like that. It's literally you walk barefoot into this sacred village, essentially.
It was very, but again, the people were very welcoming. They were very friendly. They looked at us like, "What are this lot?" But no, it was very enjoyable. And I thought, apart from walking around in my bare feet, well, I had socks on, but apart from that part of it, it was an almost spiritual experience.
It was, I mean, because they had like areas for baptism. There was a lot of like religious significance there, right?
Yeah.
And then is it like a temple? Like, would you call it a temple or a church? We went in it. I have to say, looking back at our photos, most of our photos are just of our feet. I think I failed to take any proper photos of the architecture, but we were so obsessed with the fact that we were walking barefoot through a rainy village. I'm
trying to remember whether it was there or the next day where we went into the caves, the honey caves.
No, that was the next day. So
that was the next day.
This was I think they call it a temple, so Yazidi temple, where they had this spire.
Yes.
And there were guys sitting outside of the temple making candles.
Yes, that's right.
Because they had to, I think as part of their religion, they have to make 365 candles by the end of the day to then put into the temple, like light it. Then the candles burn down like during the night and then they start the whole process again. So there's literally like 3 guys just making their candles the whole time.
Yeah.
And the other thing I remember from that temple is they had all these ribbons, right? I don't know, bits of cloth that you go in and you tie the cloth around one of the you're looking at me like you don't remember any of this.
No, I remember it as you say it because the thing is that, you know me, I'm very of the moment. when it comes to art, I'm of the moment and I need to be triggered, but not in a bad way, for the memories to come flooding back.
So
when I write my book.
So you tied the cloth and you made a wish.
Yeah.
And if somebody else opened the cloth, your wish is supposed to have come true. But
that bit I didn't remember.
Yeah, I only remember that because I'm like teacher's pet. I take lots of notes, and when I look back at my photographs, they're all like very relatively detailed when I post them. But we didn't have any cloth or anything there, so it's not to be clear, it's not a touristy place, right? So it's not
it's definitely
it's a place of worship.
Yeah, if you're a tourist, it's a place to go to have seen it.
Yes.
But it's more like you say, if you're a worshipper, it's a place to go to experience it.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is just, don't think that you're going to go in and you're going to be handed candles and cloths and things and that you can take sort of part in the experience. Yeah. You're there purely from an observation perspective because it's also the tomb of somebody in there as well. So even being allowed in, they're very sort of cautious about who goes onto it.
Well, yeah, it's a matter of respect. And again, going to somebody else's country and experience their things, you have to respect them.
That was really, really interesting and to learn about their religion. And then we continued on and then we went to this other monastery called the Al-Kosh Monastery, I think, which is the one that was in the hillside.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the caves, as you said.
And again, that was another walk around with no shoes on. They didn't know me. But anyway, I don't like that. But anyway, yes. And that was the one where you actually went inside. It was all really, really dark.
And it was high up though, in the relatively high up. So when you looked out, you sort of looked out across sort of like rocky hills and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was nice.
But the next day, I think we explored more of Duhok. I wouldn't call it a city. It's kind of just like a large town.
Yeah.
And that's where we went to all of the sort of old Saddam palaces or the remains of the palaces. Right, yeah. There's lots of murals with I'm going to say it wrong, but the Peshmerga on the side of the walls where that is. And then we went to look at like the town itself, like with the bread making. But I remember.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember that. That was that. Yeah, all of us standing outside the bakery, and
I do remember that because it was raining as well. Like it was chucking it down the whole time. The whole time that we were in Duhok, it was really, really, really wet. And then we're all crowding around under like two umbrellas, looking at looking into what is a very, very small traditional bakery.
Yeah.
This poor guy must have wondered what was going on because
they're desperate for bread. But no, it was great. It was good fun, and and the bread was good.
But do you remember doing we were all convinced to go on this walk, and it said it was tipping it down with rain, and it was this really, really muddy walk to this viewpoint, right?
That's very true. Actually, because when you asked earlier on about my
lasting
images, there's two. One of them is Saddam's castle. One of them is Saddam's castle palace, and the other one is being on that walk. And I remember there was a bit where we kind of all got to the viewing point, and kind of you couldn't all stand there at the same time. But there was a moment I remember when I was actually standing there, and you could see the mist over the valley and everything like that, and it's really flooding back into my head even as I'm saying it. And for me, it was almost spiritual.
Okay.
Because again, it was, you're in Iraq.
Yeah.
There's no missiles flying overhead. There's no armed forces. Because again, I'm of the age, whereas when I was younger, I wanted to join the army. Had I joined the army, I would have gone to Iraq.
Yes, yeah.
I would have done the Falklands and I would have gone to Iraq. So mentally, it's always one of those, you could have been here in a completely different form. And now you're here standing on the side of a hill with the mist around you. And so it was quite a spiritual moment for me. I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it too. Less spiritual, more because it was so random and wet and slippery. And there's this great photo of the two of us with like Kagul after Kagul, like, just covering ourselves in whatever we had. Yeah. We weren't really prepared for rain,
We
right?
weren't prepared for rain. No.
So, and then I think I was in my Birkenstocks. So we were like walking through the mud in like Birkenstocks. And I just remember it being kind of like really random, and then getting to the viewpoint. And I have a different memory of the viewpoint. I have the same memory of the viewpoint, but a different reaction to it, because I got to the viewpoint with the mist and the rain, like why are we here?
That is so you.
We just did this walk through mud that was very difficult, and but I enjoyed the walk through mud, and then it just became funny, right? Like that we trekked all this way through the mud, and you can't really see anything at the end of it. So that's
it's incredible. It's incredible. But no, it was spiritual for me. It was a pain for you, or a waste for you. But
it wasn't a waste. I just thought it was funny that we did all this big walk, and there was big expectations.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't see much at the end of it because the clouds of rain had come in.
Yeah.
But then the next day we travelled back essentially, and then we did the tour of the Citadel of Erbil, right?
Yeah, and that's when I had to leave. I had to leave in the middle of that. But fortunately for me, I'd done the Citadel on my first night, so I walked up the hill there and wandered around and looked at it and all, because it was quite interesting in that they had all of those little shops.
I thought Erbil, like that Citadel, was amazing.
Yeah,
like it's like a city within a fortress. So when you think back to years and years ago when like populations did live inside of a fortress. I mean, that literally is Erbil, right?
Yeah.
Like everything's within the walls of the citadel, as you said. So like the souk and the markets and everything.
Yeah, it was all inside of theirs, and it was great. And because it was built up on a hill, it was built on a hill as well. So you had obviously the protections and everything from that they would have had back in the day, which would have been a lot more necessary, because the town has now built up around the outside of the citadel, which obviously beforehand there would have been nothing there. So yeah, I enjoyed that, but like I said, I had to disappear halfway through that, get my flight back.
But do you remember I don't know if you saw it. I thought you were there when we were in the souk, but the money exchange people. Yes,
I remember them as well, and with their varying rates depending on who you went to.
Yeah, I mean, literally, there was a guy with a cabinet, right, like a glass cabinet that you'd find in your grandma's house, like with piles of different currencies.
Yeah, that was crazy. And again, I mean, you wouldn't do that in London.
No, even if it was your grandma's house.
Even if it was your grandma's, especially if it was your grandma's house. But but like you say, it was incredible the way that they just had it out on open display.
Yes.
Stacks,
literally
stacks of cash.
Yeah.
Again,
piled high. It was amazing, and not just one guy. It wasn't some secret guy in a corner somewhere. It was like literally this is the way they exchange monies. And the other thing I remember from that was the guys serving coffees. So you had people walking around with like literally big coffee pots on their shoulders. With I don't know what it was, like a tube. And sort of a cups. It was ingenious.
Mobile Starbucks.
Exactly. And then the other things we did in Erbil, basically, we just went to some of the parks, right?
What was the name of that one? Shannon.
Yeah, there's one called Shahanda.
Something like that, yeah.
So there's a park called Minara Park, which for me felt a bit more like an English country, like a stately home, because it was more like hedges and different gardens, and there were statues of the poets, that type of thing. Because there was two. There was the Shahanda one, which was bigger.
Yeah, I remember the Shahanda. I don't remember the statues.
I know. I don't. I mean, I'm a bit confused about which one was which, to be honest. But
I remember Shahanda. I remember going to that one
because that had the water, like children's activities and things in there as well.
Yeah.
And I think the other one is the one that's a little bit more. As I said, refined sounds like the wrong word, but it reminded me of an English stately home.
More manicured.
Because of the manicured, that's a good word. And then the rows of statues in there.
So again, as I say, people need to go and see this for themselves, because that's the most rubbish description that we
like there was a park, it was green, there were some statues.
we went to a place and we saw some stuff. I recommend you do the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't take our word for it.
Our chemistry teacher used to say that. Don't take my word for it. No, he actually used to say you have to take my word for it, until the day I remember the year above us said to us, no sir, you keep saying that. You have to show us. And he blew up the chemistry. Literally, he blew up the chemistry lab. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great fun. But anyway. But what was interesting as well was, having been to Erbil, I remember because that was 2019. I was in my back in Germany phase, and I used to play golf all the time. And this was literally just before we had the whole COVID kicked off.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
And one of the girls, in the summer, I was at the golf course, and I was talking to one of the young girls that worked behind the counter. And I said to her, because I can't remember what her name was, but it was a strange name. And I said to her, where's that from? And she said, I'm from Kurdistan. And I said, oh, really? And she said, Erbil. And I said, I was just there a few months ago. And the look of surprise on her face that somebody had not only been to Iraq, but also to the governor of Kurdistan and to Erbil was just like, wow, somebody's actually been to, they know where I'm from. And we keep in touch now. And she left there a few months after that to go back to uni. But we keep in touch now because she was just so surprised that somebody had gone to her place. And it's one of those things, you meet people all over the place.
Right.
It's funny how when you go particularly to the weirder places we've been to, like Somaliland and to Kurdistan and some of once you've been there, how you suddenly start bumping into people from there. It was a good trip and definitely would go back again. Yeah. But hopefully in better weather.
Yeah, and I'd like to see the rest of Iraq. As well, really. And I would go with our tour guide. Yeah. So before we conclude on the trip, because this podcast is also about us uncovering things about our friendship. So this is actually our last podcast in this series. Yeah, so this is the last episode of Series 2. So I've run out of questions. There's about to be a lot of changes, right? Like I'm moving to a different country. You're not quite sure where you're headed. And so my question to you from a friendship perspective is what is the one thing we wish for each other? So what is the one thing you wish for me?
Well, I mean, as you say, 2025 has most definitely been a year of change, significant change. It's been very, very traumatic. For me personally, it's been a very, very traumatic year. But for you, what I would wish for you is, well, don't go. Don't go. No. If you,
it's like, alas, that's it. Okay, then.
Just bought it. I'm sure it's a creep. I'm sure you'd earn money or you can sell it already. But no. But I mean, basically for you, I think that I wish you the same thing I wish if you were staying, which is, adventure and joy. You know, just keep on doing the things that you enjoy doing. With me, hopefully. but I just wish you, more adventures and even much more joy.
Fair enough. You're going to bankroll me on the back of that. But seriously, I wish the same for you. I wish that we continue to travel. I don't think it's a problem that I'm now moving to a different country, because you've been in a different country the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's true, actually.
And I just think it gives us excuse to meet in some random place at random times.
I think the biggest challenge, actually, is when you look at where you're going to be and you look at where I currently am, is where to meet.
Yes, yeah.
Because most of the places, particularly in the middle, we've already done.
Yeah.
No,
I think you're right, but I also think with kind of barriers and limitations comes innovation, because you put that on a postcard. Who says I no longer belong in the corporate world?
With barriers and limitations comes innovation.
Yeah. Oh, it's so pretentious. Good Lord.
Oh, jeez. It's a podcast in itself.
No, but what I meant was, what I was about to say was, remember the time when we were on a plane somewhere, I think coming back from Kazakhstan, and we were trying to decide where to go to next. And as you were saying, you've been here, I've been there, and we always tried to find a place that neither of us had been to. Mm. And through that, like limitations, we ended up in Djibouti.
Yes.
Right? So, which we would never have picked. No. And that was one of the most fun trips.
Having been there, I couldn't even point it out on a map.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Where's Djibouti?
No clue. You're sitting on it.
Yeah.
But done that one.
Right on time. So I wanted, as it's at the last of the series, to give you a little gift, also because I forgot your birthday last time. So it's a little thing to hang on your luggage, which has the flags of all of the countries that, well, not all of the countries we visited, because that would make it a very heavy keychain, but it's the flags of at least some of the episodes that we've done in the series. I couldn't afford them all because I'm broke, but I wanted to give it to you because I couldn't think of a birthday present last time, and I wanted to give you something meaningful. If you see, it's got like Sri Lanka, it's got Djibouti, it's got Uzbekistan, and it's got South Korea and Saudi. There, so you see?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Got all of the different flags, but you can continue adding to it.
Nice one. Thank you very much indeed. Much appreciated.
Welcome. Let's wrap up.
That's the end of series 2. So where did we do series 2? We did Dubai.
So series 2, we started off in Dubai. We did Uzbekistan, Oman, Sri Lanka, and now Kurdistan. And we did an episode about how to build a life abroad, actually. So that was kind of a new one.
Yeah.
And then series 1 before that, we also did some great countries. So Saudi Arabia, South Korea, we did Kuwait, and there's another one in there which I don't remember. Djibouti and Azerbaijan.
And Azerbaijan.
Yeah. So, so stay tuned.
Carpet museum.
Yes, exactly. So do check us out, subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast channels, and follow us on YouTube. Yeah. And we're now preparing series 3. So I hopefully will see you before that. But,
you will.
Stalker. But if not, it's been a pleasure as always. And look forward to the next steps.
Definitely. Nice one.
Gracias.